Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Old Reader, New Reader. We are back. It's been a while.
A week?
I feel like we've had a lot of people
Oh,
with us lately, so it feels odd.
since you and I guess it's been a little over a week since
Yeah,
it's been
it
you and
just
I.
feels longer. I don't know. But
That's probably what it was. Yeah.
the original duo, it's back again.
Yes, we are back to talk about this masterpiece of a book called Blacksad, translated into English, published by Dark Horse here in America. It's originally a Spanish book. And originally, it was translated and printed in three little small hardcovers, and then those three hardcovers they printed in here in this oversized hardcover collection, and then they also have Amarillo and A Silent Hell, which are published in smaller size hardcovers. I think they're only like 60 pages or so.
Yeah.
So, how's everybody in the chat doing? Joe Chip, Timmy Ray, Philip Evans, Chanda Sok. I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday evening. But yes, in case you've never read this, we are going to talk about spoilers, and there are some mature content in this book.
Oh,
And good news, though, for those that want to pick it up if you're interested in the series, they just reprinted this volume, this hardcover, if you want to own it in hardcover. It's just recently been reprinted after years of being out of print. And in the summer, they're releasing a complete collection of all 5 stories in a softcover collection. So
I
um,
do like that oversized hardcover though.
they
So
are nice, and
really nice.
I don't know the dimensions of the complete collection yet.
Yeah.
So it might just be standard size trade paperback. So Jesse, say what? Roz, Justin, hope everybody's having a good evening.
And there is a video game for Blacksad out also, but I heard that there were some. I heard it was good, but not completely playable. Like maybe there's some glitches, or the gameplay was maybe a little difficult. But there is a video game out for Blacksad now, like a point
I
adventure. I think
like. Is it kind of like in the Telltale games?
that's what it looked like. I
Okay,
looked much into it, but that's kind of the style it seemed like. Not anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but
haven't played it. So is it just mobile? I think isn't there a PS4 version?
yeah, I think it's PS4. Oh, Riddle with glitches. I think you can play it on Switch maybe too. I'm not sure.
Oh, Riddle with
I feel like it's a
glitches.
console. That's. I wonder if it's they still have glitches or they fixed it at all. It's a bummer.
What's up? There's my boy Brooks. Shout out to Brooks, the guy that breaks all the solicitations. Long before Marvel made it easy for me, that man was making me
Okay,
happy.
all consoles, says Roz. Thank
Okay,
you.
so it's all on consoles
Yeah.
on the Switch. So Blacksad. But we're talking about the comic today. So let's get started. Maddie, this is your first time reading it. This is my second time reading this
Yeah.
wonderful piece of work. Like I said, originally published in Spain in late 90s, early aughts by the duo Juan Diaz Canales and Juanjo Guarnido. I believe it's the duo's name. And damn it, I missed my chance of meeting Juanjo when he was over at Baltimore this year. He doesn't do a lot of American conventions, and he was in Baltimore. And I didn't take my hardcover with me, and I was trying to find one over there, and I couldn't. So, uh, will this be a giveaway? No, next week will be our first. So next week is our first old reader, new reader that was chosen by the readers, or I'm sorry, by our subscribers on Patreon. So our patrons voted for that, and I'll announce what that book is here in a little bit. And it will also be giving away a $50 gift card to Cheap Graphic Novels next week. So, Maddie, you want to start? What did you think of Blacksad? What did you know about this going into it?
Nothing.
Awesome. That's the best way
I
to
knew
go into a
nothing.
book.
I knew people kind of talk about it in the group. So I've seen people talk about it. And then when the game came out, which again I know nothing about still, I think there was a little more hype kind of built up in a group about it. And that's about it. It just I knew what the main character looked like, but I knew nothing about it at all. So this was
Okay.
really fun to dig into for me. And I was surprised. I mean, like again, I'm glad that I went in not knowing anything.
Sometimes that's the best.
But I think either way, even if you had told me what the story was like, I don't think I would have been prepared for just how beautiful it is. I
Mhm.
mean, that it's just, and I read it digitally, and now I want to reread it physically, but it's beautiful. Like, gorgeous art, very detailed. I mean, incredibly detailed. It almost felt like you were like watching a cartoon, like a cartoon movie, you know, like one that has like a high frame rate. It's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. And Joe Chip has corrected me. So it was originally
Okay.
published in France, not Spain, although both writer and artist are Spaniards. Weird. Oh, and not the first time I've seen that, right? Because a lot of the humanoid books are like that too.
Is it
Um,
because is France a bigger comic market? Do you think?
you know, there's a lot of Spanish artists that move in like to Paris to work for a lot of the magazines, probably, and maybe that might be the centralized like comic book mecca, if you will,
Yeah.
in Europe.
But yeah, I really dug this, and we'll get into it as we go through. But
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit synopsis in case you don't know what Blacksad is, besides the pretty cat on the cover smoking a cigarette. So it is the story of in this world. Think of like I hate to compare it to Zootopia, but that's the best way I can describe it
I mean, like
nowadays.
a place anthropomorphic.
Right. So Duckburg,
Oh.
Zootopia, anthropomorphic animals, and if you but they really don't play into their natural instincts like they do in like Zootopia, right? Like they're more like human characters
Yeah.
than they are animalistic characters. So in
Mhm.
the way that Scrooge and Donald are written by Carl Barks and Donald Duck, other than the fact that in the way that they look, they're really human characters.
Right, has nothing to do with that, which is interesting too, because even in like as we get into later in the book, and like race is an issue. They're still dealing with race in the way that we do, with this lightness to darkness of skin, right? And it's not about like the different species; it's about their
right, which they
whether
made
they're
into
white or not.
Zootopia. But that's okay. So pretty much it's the story of my boy here. He's a private investigator. His name is John Blacksad, and
Which is such a cool name.
it is. And on top of that, like he's not just a private investigator, but the way that the story is told is like a crime noir. This reads like a crime noir, and it feels like a crime noir movie. It's probably one of the best examples of a crime noir comic I could think of. And
very by the book too, because we've read other crime noir, but it's like
right,
it's a little bit different. This one feels very like a serial show, right? Like watching Murder She Wrote, or you know,
a lot of
Monster of the Week. You know, I really, yeah, very classic.
A lot of inner monologue in the way that he describes the crime scene. So the very first story is literally takes place like in the 40s and 50s. Right? Okay, yes, thank you, Larry. So two Spanish creators writing a crime noir story published in France that takes place in the 40s and 50s in America. Awesome. Like who else is going to have the balls enough to do something like that? So the first story is about a past love of his that has been murdered, and right from the get-go it's graphic and in the way that this is mature content. So you see the dead body of his lover. He investigates it, and then he goes and takes it personal. He wants to know who did this to her. Why did they put a bullet in her head? And he takes it upon himself to do some private investigating. And then I love by the way, there's also a quirkiness to the facial expressions
Oh yeah, I mean, he's so
that he draws, right?
I think it's cute. Like I think that's the one way that you definitely see more of
See, like a cat, right?
Yeah, because there's a moment in this in that volume, I guess, where like, he's in his apartment and this guy's got a gun on him, and then there's somebody else with a gun that shoots that guy, and he gets really low, and his eyes get big like a cat,
like a cat.
His ears get up like this. It's so cute.
So as we talk about it, I don't want to just focus on how cute it is, but just also how badass the action is.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Over here, the dynamic artwork here, panel to panel, of him dodging this knife, turning around and just whacking the guy right in the stomach, right? You forget, like I said, that these are animals. It's just such a good story. You get lost in it. So as he's
detailed,
and it's all a big conspiracy theory as to what happened to her. Like, The guy, like, he goes down a dark path, and just like a real detective would, gets beat up on the way to try to figure out who killed his past lover, and turns out to be like this guy, this current boyfriend of hers that has a lot of pull. He's just decided to have her killed because he got jealous of her, this creepy guy with bulging eyeballs. Like, here, let me show you pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to actually not have her killed. He's the one that pulled the trigger. And man, and I love this scene right here, by the way. Like I said, we talk about spoilers here, so I do want to show this scene. Like, just how ruthless and
Mm-hmm.
John Blacksad is just a complete badass. Like, he owns this scene. As you're reading this, you're like, okay, this is going to determine what kind of character he is. Does he pull the trigger? Or does he arrest this guy? Or does he let the cops come and get him?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, next page is, bam, right between the eyes. That's how badass he is. You don't mess with John Blacksad. Oh, so awesome.
Well, it's so great too, because his like boss or whatever, it's like, hey, I'm off the case, but you're not. And if you want to take care of this guy, I'll cover it up for you. That's so cool.
Absolutely. Oh man. So it's like he works with the police and he works with the FBI eventually. Keeping in mind, like, this all takes place in America, right? So there's a lot of things. And that's the very first story. That's each of these stories is about, I want to say, like 54 to 60 pages long.
Yeah.
So that's Somewhere in the Shadows. That's this one. And each one is preceded by a cover too in this collection. If you want to go and purchase this collection, or you can.
And they're pretty self-contained too.
Yeah, there's reoccurring characters, but for the most part, it's all self-contained. Like, there's a character that joins him in the next story arc, and we'll talk about that. That's what's his name, Weekly. So the next story is called Arctic Nation. So Maddie, you brought up a little bit about this story, right? This is kind of like I guess it's their views on how they saw, like, America in during this time, right? So this is kind of a racial tension between black animals and white animals, right? And there's been a murder and a kidnapping. So that's what this one is about. Damn. And it's interesting to see how they depict, I guess, America during that time. This is a town that's kind of ran by white supremacists that have something going on behind the scenes. And this is where he meets his little sidekick, if you will, if he has one, who's a little reporter. He's a little weasel named Weekly.
Love him.
This little dude right there. Yeah, this guy. Sorry, backwards. So this is a really good question. Is there a hook to the story that wouldn't work with humans?
No.
I don't think so at all. No. I mean, he makes a comment every once in a while about a cat's worst enemy or something like that. But honestly, this could be... I'm sorry, let me highlight the question again. This could have been done with humans in the same vein that Mouse could have been done with humans instead of using mice and cats, right? Or that, oh gosh, I cannot remember the anime director that only uses cats instead of real life people. He did Railroad to the Stars. Anyway, yeah, I think it's just a choice by the creators to do it. And obviously, it keeps me glued to the page because I love seeing animals react like humans, right? Like, you have this...
I love the style, and I like
this emotional
it's
scene
not necessarily
right
cartoonish because it's very realistic, but it's...
No. So,
I'm very drawn to it.
You have this mother whose daughter's gone missing, and she's breaking down in front of him. Like, whoa. That's two humans having a conversation. Just happens to be a cat and, what is she, a mouse, I think?
I thought they were dogs.
They might be, or a deer. I can't remember. I can't keep my animals straight. But and seriously, we will keep going back to the artwork and how great it is.
But yeah, because I really, really like this story, because as he's kind of investigating it, he runs into these white supremacists. But again, it was a very interesting choice of him to make this about the color of his skin versus species.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really impressed by that. 'Cause you have a polar bear, and you've got like
Well, you have
seal
you have
and
white supremacists, and you also have the equivalent of the Black Panthers.
right.
Like during this, and this is a really short scene because it mainly is about a little town in the South, right? But you have these people, and and he's pointing out the fact that he's both black and white because he's got that little area in his on his mouth, right?
Mhm.
Thought that was pretty interesting. So I guess in that way, maybe. But then, I mean, you could have thrown in a mixed character if you're making them humans.
Right, and I mean, it was really interesting because it was a big twist, right? Because you wouldn't have known kind of what's going on here because you learn that like kind of the two other culprits behind this. They're trying to get at this guy. Were these guys' daughters, which
Right.
he had an affair with a black woman, and then she'd gotten pregnant,
And
and
there's
gave
this
birth to twins.
whole right.
One's white and one's black, which is a real thing that happens in real life to humans.
Mhm.
And their mother was ruined because of this. So they kind of like teamed up where the white one was like, I'm gonna get into that higher society. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get back at him. Right. It was really interesting because I think you wouldn't have seen that coming at all.
And let me just show you all something like the depiction of the brutality in this of like a crime
Oh yeah.
scene. It's it's not easy on the eyes. It's rough. It's true to life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, you know, it's supposed to be an anthropomorphic animal, it still feels like, oh man, that could be a real body laying there. And that just shows the power of his artwork. There's a couple good questions here. I'm going to highlight one.
Yeah.
Rick Nelson, does Blacksad collected stories coming out this summer to cover all the books in the series? So far there have been 5, and all 5 books are collected in that collected edition coming out this summer. So yeah, if you want to purchase it, man, it's a cheap way of getting it. And I'm thinking it's going to be the size of a trade paperback, just thick.
Which I think would be nice.
To have them all. I just hope they keep coming out with more.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I think they wanted to do a total of 8. But I'm sure somebody in the chat will know more than I do. But I read somewhere that they wanted to do 8, and so far at least 5 have been translated into English.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an animated movie for this? I don't know.
There is not. So now again, I'm just on Wikipedia.
Sure.
But it
I
says
know.
that forever, like almost 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, there was reported to be movie adaptation to be in development.
Yeah.
With like a 2009 release, but nothing
Oh.
happened. So we did get the video game, but that's it. And it looks like according to the future volumes, looks like 6th and 7th volumes were supposed to be released last year.
I kind of figured it'd leave
but I'm guessing they have not. But quick little side note, in the anime Skullface bookseller Honda-san. I don't know if you've ever seen that or seen the manga. It's that like manga seller who's like a skull, like a skeleton guy. You can see the first volume of this.
Of Blacksad?
Mhm.
I love when that happens. I love when that happens in comic books.
Yeah.
I love when it happens.
Manga referencing this is really cool.
Manga referencing things that I'm familiar with. American comic books back before the big manga boom of the late 90s. American comic book artists putting posters of anime that I used to watch. Oh, I love that stuff. And we can that could be a whole nother episode, honestly.
Oh yeah, because I remember there was some like, it was Miss Marvel or something else, but one of those had like Evangelion characters in there. Oh no, it was never mind, I can't remember.
There's so much of it
One of
now.
the younger Marvel characters, there was like other Evangelion characters in there.
There's so much of it now, but back in the day, before it was even cool to say who watches the Watchmen, I remember seeing that in I think it was Pineapple Army, one of the rare manga that I have, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So the hardcovers, I was just telling Maddie or to our list viewers earlier that the hardcover, the volume 1, this one here that I'm holding in my hand that collects the first 3 stories, had been out of print for years, and they just recently brought it back into print. So if you want to get it, if you want to own them in hardcover format, then maybe, I don't know. Amarillo's out of print, but it can be cheaply gotten. And I think the 5th one, the 4th one is Silent Hell. That one's still in print.
Man, I'm very tempted. I'm gonna go ahead and add them in to my cart on Amazon.
But this second story, it's really powerful and moving, and I really liked it because I feel, there's this whole story about this kidnapped little girl, and he gets really involved. And just let me show you just again, the art is what carries this book so much. And good Lord, just the action sequences of the bullets flying. You get caught in the middle of this. His friend is about to get hanged here for just
Yeah.
intruding in this, I guess, but KKK.
Plan
They don't really call it that, but it's just so awesome. And
I'm super impressed because usually a lot of fight scenes in
so
other
clear and
books,
crisp.
they can kind of, they don't always carry out how like all the detail, because it can be a rush thing. But man, this is so detailed and it's so easy to follow, and it really sucks you in. It really feels like you're right there in the middle of the action. And that's not me just trying to blow smoke up this book, but like it really is that detailed and beautiful.
Well, like one of my favorite books of all time is like Trigun. I love Trigun, the manga. But the action sequences are impossible to follow. I can't follow. And, it's just because the artwork is so busy. I don't know how to describe this. The artwork is so busy, yet it's so easy to follow.
And that may be the coloring too that helps that. I'm not sure, but it does feel very cinematic.
Derek, where did you meet him? Just out of curiosity. Did you meet him in Baltimore? Other than animal characters, is there anything supernatural about it? Not really. Not in any of the 5 books that I've read. Mainly, seriously, like the next book we're going to look. Okay, so the first one, like I said, it's about his ex-girlfriend getting shot and a conspiracy to hide that body. The second story here is literally a white versus black society that they have in the South, in the 50s, I guess, in the United States, and how this white supremacist town just kind of kidnapped this kid to try to hide some things. It's obviously some kind of conspiracy because he's a detective, right? So he has to figure things out. Then Terrificon. Okay, cool. It's a con in Connecticut. Awesome, man. Very jealous you got to meet him. And the third story that we're about to talk about. Oh, by the way, I have to show how bittersweet this is. Of the this moment of like him feeling so guilty for leaving this child behind. Just this connection right here during these 2 panels. Oh man, what a beautiful moment. Yeah, that's what's up. Now this next story, this one is the one about Vegas. This is called Red Soul. And he meets up with an old, I guess it was like his old professor that kind of used to get him out of trouble. And apparently there's a group of 12 people that are part of the society. And man, what a this one had a lot of twists and turns that I forgot even rereading.
It was almost hard to follow.
Like, where do I go?
Go back and reread it.
Yes, especially the conclusion, but I got it. Yeah, I got it. So because this has a love interest, it has a promise. But let's talk a little bit about this one. So I mentioned, he has this this professor right here. He's a college professor, this owl, who's depicted as an owl, and he's part of this members of known as the 12, not the X-Men, the 12. But one of them gets murdered, and one by one they're being followed and murdered for some reason. And he has this time has fallen in love with this girl who is a book writer. This lady right here, who really hot, right? For a cat. I think she's supposed to be a cat. Whatever. My goodness. I swear. I'm surprised nobody's made any comments about furries. Good for you all.
I know. I'm proud of everyone.
I'm proud of everybody.
I do like Hayden's comments.
What he said.
Basically, Zootropler's Zootopia was the historical political noir for adults. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more grown-up version of that. I'm pleased Omar found a way to mention X-Men and had to throw it in there, man. You know I did. So, there's this giant... Man, this is really creepy picture right... Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. This one right here. This is kind of scary, One of the characters, one of the 12, as he's getting his medication at night, right here. He closes the mirrors and forms this image of this croc that is always going to murder him. So, he catches the guy in this awesome freaking action-packed scene. Sorry, I gotta highlight this one more time, and then we can
Go
talk.
ahead. You're good.
So he catches the guy, this croc that I was talking about, arming a detonator for the owl's car. He runs towards the owl, jumps and pulls him out of the car. The croc is getting away in this panel. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's over and done with. And no, it's not. Look at this action-packed scene. Oh my God, this is so awesome. Look at that punch. Damn, Blacksad, you are one badass dude. You just got blown up and you're coming in here to pick a fight. That's awesome.
Well, I like how quick that moved too.
Yes. Did not waste any time.
In the window.
I think in most of the stories it would have been like the following day. Right now he got bombed and now he's gonna go and punch that dude. And it turns out that his owl mentor, this guy, was had this really ties to Hitler.
Yeah.
So I guess this world's version of Hitler. So he wasn't as good as he always claimed to be. So there's some manipulating and conspiracy here. And pretty much towards the end, he gets Blacksad gets framed for murder. While this is going on, he kind of gets engaged a little bit to this fine lady right here.
Yeah.
Right? Man.
Whole thing of that she'll never marry a man until he takes her for like a honeymoon at Niagara
Falls, right? And that's so sad, especially when you get to the end.
Ooh.
Because while he's locked up, and there's some miscommunication, he doesn't get to her, and she takes the trip to Niagara by herself. While like this really sad little panel. Come on, man. You're a noir detective. This is not going to end well for you.
Well, yeah, he's not going to be with somebody, but still.
He's going to be a loner forever.
She's so cute.
But it turns out that there was this huge conspiracy about him selling, what was it? The hydrogen bomb formula over to the Russians, all within a painting. And it all gets discovered because he puts a lot of these clues together himself. That's why he's a badass detective. Mm-hmm. And it ends on a bittersweet, sad note, though. And that's where the third book ends. And that is all three of the books. What's going on? Nerdy by Nature. Shout out to Charlie. That's
also,
where all.
Yes, it is not kid friendly. Candace was asking if it would be kid friendly.
Oh no! My wife was asking the same thing. She was
unfortunately,
there's a lot of animal booty in this, I guess. A lot of sexual content and some violence. Like, honestly, in the language, right? There's some F-bombs dropped. And my wife saw the cover, right? And she was like, do you think Lydia would read that? Because it's got a cat on it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, she'd read it, but I'm not going to let her. Not for now. She's 10 years old. I'd wait a little bit.
Yeah, I get a couple more years at least.
And then I think about myself, how I used to sneak heavy metal magazines when I was 10 years old.
Oh, I mean, I was watching and reading all sorts of stuff.
Okay, well, but she's my kid, though. She ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, of course.
But let's rate the book, because that's pretty much it. In the back of the hardcovers, there's a quick little notes as to who the creators are, how they started working together. And yeah, this nice, beautiful image. Let me blow this up. I love that. I love to have some of this original artwork, honestly.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Let me see if I could show this piece right here. And at the time this was published, there weren't any other Blacksad books except for the standalone ones. But who's gonna buy those? Because you got this. So, Maddie, what would you give this book out of 10?
No, I'm leaning towards a 10.
You're leaning towards a 10? I am for sure giving it a 10 out of 10.
It's really good. I mean,
I don't think it ever took a dip, even though there were moments that, like, obviously there's a lot of in the second volume, like, there's like political in just a social commentary, right?
Oh yeah,
That's what
which
it
I
is.
love
And
so well.
keeping in mind that they're animals and stuff, that was great. And then, of course, the last story kind of got a little complicated, but even then, I still enjoyed it. There wasn't a panel I wouldn't miss. If I miss reading a panel, I would go back and reread it and make sure I got it. That's how much I enjoy this. And and this is my second read through, so that shows me how much I enjoyed it. And the artwork alone, I mean, good Lord. So 10 out of 10 for me.
And I definitely see myself rereading this too. I definitely want to buy it. Like for sure have a physical copy on my shelf because it's just gorgeous.
They are gorgeous. And if you get this version, don't forget the other two.
Yeah, I add to my cart. Man, this does deserve the animation treatment. I feel like if you can get a team like Spider-Man and Into the Spider-Verse to work on a Blacksad movie, that would work. That kind of style would make me happy.
I'm trying to think of what could do it justice with watercolors. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, because I want more of a 2D feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like maybe, I don't know if you saw Klaus on Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind.
Shout out to Seb. His girlfriend worked on that. And now it was an Oscar-nominated movie.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
So if you've read this, what would you give it? Larry has given it an 8.5 out of 10. Hayden is dead to me. But he brought himself back because he said he just wanted to see me react. And Justin said, looks like a solid 9. When there was a question here by Justin. Justin, how old till you let your kids read from the top shelf? Depends on what's on my top shelf, man. I have a lot of my EC books. EC, they can get into some EC stuff. As long as it's not done by the cats people. Oh my God. Right?
Animated or nothing for me.
As long as it's not done by the people that did cats. I'm actually good with that. Solid, at least an 8 out of 10. All right. Give it a 9. We're the only two that gave it a 10. Man.
Surprise.
Have you ever seen the Inspector Canardo stuff? Want to say MBM reprinted material back in the 90s. Let me look it up really quick. I don't know if that sounds familiar. Inspector Canardo. I want to read their other stuff that they've done together. And I know that Guarnido has worked with what's his name's wife? Canales' wife. Because she's a comic book writer. Okay, so no, I have not read this. I don't think these have been printed in America.
2 paws. 2 paws out of 2 paws.
All right. Gabriel D gives it a 10 out of 10. I haven't read it, but I trust your 10s. All right, there we go. Seriously, if you've never read this is
oh, it's so good.
It's amazing. And I want to say this is the first time, at least on this show, that we have read a European comic book. We've done manga and we've done several American comics, but you look like you're in heaven.
Well, just trying to she's making it this difficult.
Let's see. What are some similar book suggestions? I've read Fatale, Black Monday Murders. Anything about Brubaker? Fatale is solid. Fade Out. Highly recommend Fade Out. Criminal, Incognito, Scene of the Crime. Those stories are great. Torpedo, which is also Torpedo was a Spanish comic.
Second volume. It's out now. I haven't read it yet, but Analog.
Oh yeah, you liked Analog a lot.
A lot.
What's the other one that I was recommending the Jess for his? He does a crime stories on his channel. Monster, yeah, but he doesn't like manga, so he can't do manga. But Monster for sure.
I feel like Monster has to be the exception. Also, people can't just not like manga. You know what I mean? You just have to find the genre that's like.
Well, no. It's not that he can't. He just can't read it. It's impossible. I told him I was going to start a Kickstarter to literally do the petition to do left to right manga for Monster at least. There was another one that I thought of. that I was like, hey, this would be really good if you've never. Oh, Parker's good. Really enjoyed that. But Torpedo, which is a Spanish comic book, but it's been translated by IDW into English, and we should have gotten an omnibus for a hardcover, but it got canceled, sadly.
So what are we reading next week?
All right. So last week we put our first poll up on Patreon, and our patrons voted. So it was either X-Men from the Ashes, it was Daredevil. Oh hell, what was it? Give me 1 second. Let me find this for you really quick.
While he's doing that, I'm going to be at C2E2 next weekend. Is anyone else going to be there?
Hey, that's awesome. I'm glad you're going.
I get to meet Gail Simone finally. And
Stalker.
guess who else is going to be there?
Dan Didio.
Yes, but also my other nemesis.
Who killed Roy Harper? Tom King?
Yeah.
Did I get it? Is it
My
Tom
time
King?
has come.
to talk to him? And what if he's like, who's Roy Harper? What the hell are you talking about, lady? Is he one of those C-list characters I killed off?
I'm going to confront both of them. I'm just going to bring a little thing. I'm like, I need you to sign this and apologize to me. I already have Tom King's signature, but I need Dan Didio because it's his fault.
Wait, is it next weekend?
Yeah.
Crap. I hope we get the Wonder Woman by Gail Simone on
I know.
because it comes out that Wednesday.
I am bring my Gail Simone omnibus to get signed.
The Red Sonja?
Mm-hmm. I said Gail Simone omnibus, Red Sonja omnibus.
Yeah, Gail Simone. I know what you mean.
I'm super excited.
So the choices were Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, Spider-Man, Death of Gwen Stacy, X-Men from the Ashes, and Hulk, Ground Zero. And Patreons voted for Daredevil, Man Without Fear. So that's what we will be reading for next Tuesday, February, what day is that? The 25th. Which is the Frank Miller. And that one's got an interesting story because it was pretty much the script to the Frank Miller movie, right? It was going to be a movie of Daredevil, but they decided to not go through with it. And he was like, what the hell am I going to do with the script? Oh, I'll make it into a comic book. So with the help of John Romita Jr., and was it Dan Green or Klaus Janson? I can't remember who inked it, but they made it into a comic book, a 5-issue miniseries retelling the origin of Daredevil. And we've got it's been collected in trade paperbacks, it's been collected in the omnibus format, it's been collected in just about every format hardcover. So it's everywhere. It's in the Daredevil Frank Miller Companion if you want to read it with us and you have the omnibus. So that's what we'll be reading.
I haven't read too much Daredevil. It's a couple of stories. So
we did Kevin Smith, Guardian Devil on this channel.
I've read Wade's.
Oh, and Wade's is so different than everybody else's.
I know, but I like it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cutie Pie Maple. When are you going to join us on the show again? Come hang out.
Oh, yeah. Didn't she do? She did an episode with you, then you and Tina, right?
Yeah, I want to bring her back to do more stuff.
You should.
So, I like inviting people. It's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. We should get some more. But that's next week. Then we can start talking about what to read in March, which is my birthday month. So it's I get to pick the entire
Which means I
month.
get to choose all of July.
Did we agree on that?
Yes, we did.
We did. I remember having that conversation. Huh.
That's how it works.
Because then I get like the 4th of July, and then it's Peruvian Independence Day, which is the 3rd week of July.
If you get all of March, I get all of July.
Oh, man. So, yes, I am a March baby, and I get to pick some stuff. Definitely, there's
how much X-Men is it going to be?
Just one. I'm not going to drown you with X-Men. Just one book. Just one book. And then other stuff, too. So I've got some stuff in mind, and then we'll let our patrons vote on the final book of that month. Again, next week here, join us for a live show on Old Reader, New Reader. We'll be doing Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, and also for your chance to win a $50 gift card to our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com. Check them out. And that's it. Anybody got questions? We just did a whole show on Blacksad. I'm glad I finally got to do this. Omar starts naming all the... It's the only time those holidays come in handy.
Oh, look on my supporters.
Maddie only got one pick for her birthday last
There.
year. Weren't you in China? I want to say you were in China.
No, in June I was.
Yeah, that's what happened.
This year I won't be because of the coronavirus. So
Oh
I'll be
my
here.
goodness.
Literally not allowed to go.
Ooh. My goodness, that is, man, that's gonna affect so much. Like, I feel guilty. I was talking to David about this at Marvel. Like, I feel guilty even talking about these things, but you know, it's pushing back a lot of things. Like those reprints of Daredevil, they're supposed to go back in print, and they're out of stock right now. And all that stuff gets printed in China, and everything is shut down. So
well, a lot of people should be returning to factories soon, but the downside is even the people who own factories can't get enough masks for their employees. We can't even buy them to donate and send over.
That's crazy.
Hospitals can't. Like it's super affected our work for sure.
Omar, did you see that there was a casting call for people with circus skills for the Batman? Does that mean what I think it means?
It's time. Give us the boys.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Give us the boys.
It's going to be some kind of... I've heard all kinds of things. I'm just going to let it... Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Have you seen Birds of Prey yet, Omar?
No.
I'll see it again.
Did you like it? I haven't seen it yet.
I did. And somebody asked earlier if Gail Simone, what she thought about Birds of Prey. She really, really liked it. Of course, the only downside is Cassandra Cain. But everyone unanimously agrees that they wish they just made a different character.
Yeah, but
call her Cassandra Cain, but it's okay.
But I mean,
very good.
Those characters aren't really anything like their comic book counterparts, though, are they? Like
I'd
any
say
of them?
The rest of them are.
Really? I was thinking more like what's her name?
Well, Cassandra Cain is so different. Like
Rosie Perez's character, like Montoya in the comic books. You know, she's a young, aspiring detective, and in the I don't know. I mean, maybe Rosie Perez is playing a young lady, but I think Rosie Perez is in her 50s. So I thought that an interesting casting. Is she? Okay.
Oh, but I mean, like,
no, I haven't seen it. It's not that I'm not watching it. It's just I haven't had a chance to watch it.
But I really, really enjoyed it, and I went in with very low expectations.
Oh man! After Suicide Squad, Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, rather.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Larry. How the hell does that work?
Is there an extra?
What kind of negotiator are you? Ooh, Batman will have two suits. Is one of them going to be the Arctic Attack Batman suit? Or the Bat Nipples? Maybe Bat Nipples? Pattinson seems like a bad choice, but we'll see. I'm sure they'll put him some juice. Dude, he was awesome in Lighthouse. Like, I loved him in Lighthouse. I've yet to see a Twilight movie because luckily I wasn't dating my wife. I was married to my wife, so I wasn't forced to watch those things. And she also was not into the Twilight books, so she didn't care about that. So I don't know how to judge him on that, but based alone on what I've seen him in Lighthouse, he was freaking awesome. He's a solid actor. Yeah, I'm excited to see him in this. Open mind, you know, or try to go in there with best open mind I can.
It looks like DC's has been making good choices in the past year. So, you know, I think post Justice League we've been doing pretty well. So I have high hopes. I'm trying to be careful because there's been lost thinkers, but
you're right.
I'm hoping for the best.
The Bat credit card making a return. Yes. Maddie loves those movies.
I do. I love them so much. I don't even care. Ooh, speaking of other DC related stuff.
Here's a good question.
Omar, I need you to watch the cartoon. I need you to watch Harley Quinn. It is so good.
You really like it? The adult cartoon?
No,
is it on the DC app?
It's very good.
I know Jess and Gio have been watching it. I just haven't heard anybody else talk about it. I'll give it a watch.
Ellie and I love it so much. I get so excited every week. Clayface is great. Dr. Psycho is great.
What kind of tone is it?
It's funny. I mean, it's even though it's adult, like, you know, a lot of adult cartoons like on Adult Swim and stuff, they go too far and I just don't like it. I don't think the humor is good. This is very well balanced.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Oh, it's
You know, one of my favorite Batman cartoons that I don't ever hear anybody talk about is Brave and the Bold. It only lasted like 3 seasons.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit.
Oh my god, Aquaman in Brave and the Bold is one of my favorite portrayals of Aquaman. They have a musical in Brave and the Bold. It's so awesome. Does it ever bother you you can't read comic in its original language, and do you have a preference if you can? I own Torpedo. I'm sorry, Torpedo in Spanish. And if it was in English, I would have probably bought it in English, but the hardcover was never. It was listed. It was just canceled. Ma- Maddie, do you ever read manga in Japanese, or
Yeah,
just those that you can't?
it's just those that I can't. So like, there'll be some books that I'll go and buy in Japanese, but it's not common. If I can get it in English, I prefer to, because I'm worried that I'll misunderstand something.
Hmm.
Like, and plus, I do better. My listening comprehension's better than my reading, so I
Mm.
I can watch something in Japanese without subtitles and be fine. 70%, but reading not as much.
I I have like I speak and read Spanish, but I think because I've been living here for so long that um it's got to be in English for me. I hate to say that. But I know, like in European comic books, a lot of the translation is off-putting a little bit in just the way that storytelling is done. I don't think it was so much the case with this, but I know, for example, like Incal and Meta Barons, for those that haven't read it, if you've never read a European comic going into it for the first time, it's a little takes a little bit to get used to. Kind of like, I guess, manga in a way it
Yeah.
does. I have not seen. Have you seen Lock and Key yet? I've not
No,
seen a single episode yet.
I
I'm a
haven't
little
started yet.
worried.
It was. I want to wait until I can like focus on it. Maybe that's something we can watch on Saturday after we record or something. Like watch the first episode together so we can actually.
Yeah, I'd love to. I love that, and I'm just that trailer was so off-putting for me. And like I said, I haven't seen it, but the trailer made it look like it was a young adult show instead of that wonderful comic book that we read. And I don't know. I'd rather have that horror element than young adult. Kind of like make it like Stranger Things. It looks like it's the way they were doing with the
Yeah.
whimsical music soundtrack. But like I said, I haven't seen a single episode.
Yeah, I'm
Which
open to it. I put this off and Witcher, and I love both of those
I haven't
things.
seen Witcher either. I haven't seen Witcher
I'm
either.
waiting until I'm like ready just to do that because I've been really busy, getting married and whatever. But like,
Beware the Batman. I forgot about that. That's the one that had Tuxedo Mask, the original Tuxedo Mask voicing Batman. I forgot about that. It was like a CG kind of show. The Green Lantern animated series, that was a criminal. Yes, that was criminally canceled. You are correct.
everyone should watch Justice League Action though because Booster Gold is so good, so good.
Maddie, what's he saying? See?
Aw, thank you.
I hope he's talking about me.
No, it's not that. My Japanese is not that good. It's okay. It's rusty. Now I work in an office where Chinese is the main language, so.
To be fair, okay, Jodorowsky is not representative of European comic writing. It sounds just as weird in French. He has a unique style. Okay, I can see that. I guess here's another guy. He's not Spanish, but he's from Chile that publishes French comic books. Guys, what is he, like 90 something years old? Like they're doing something special for him at Humanoids, celebrating like his 90th birthday.
Matthew, I'm not married yet.
Yet.
I'm working on it.
Spoilers.
Omar has to officiate.
Yeah, I'm so ready. I'm gonna pull those lines from X-Men, Cyclops, in Phoenix.
We'll meet beforehand. We'll be fine. And you don't have to get ordained or anything.
Yes, good.
So
I've been baptized because I'm Catholic. Spectacular Spider-Man was the best superhero cartoon. How old are you, Hayden? That makes me think you're in your 20s, right? Because then Spectacular, let me say, was that like
the older one?
I think it was like 7 years ago. That's when that came out.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hayden.
the Spider-Man show I've seen is that like, I guess one that was out in the 90s when I was a kid.
That was the Fox one that came out right around the same time X-Men, the animated series, came out.
Yeah.
Alejandro uses magic to live. Yeah, he's pretty much outlived a lot of his artists. Wonder what he's gonna think. I'm so excited for this Dune movie, guys. I know he has nothing to do with it.
Wait, are we getting a Dune movie?
Yeah,
I love Dune.
Oh, you do? Okay, so I love the
Yeah.
book too. And Jodorowsky was originally supposed to do it, and then there's this. Sadly, he didn't. Right? Like it didn't happen. But now, we're getting a new movie this fourth quarter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 2008, I think. That MTV Spider-Man. Is it? Hayden, is that MTV Spider-Man? Is that what that was? I'm sure Omar will complain about the food at your way. I will not. I don't rate things. Just books. Just books.
And well, alcohol. So
I'll be fine.
Ooh, and we're playing RPG music.
Yes. My wife.
Anarchand. I was telling your wife about it today.
Were you? Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I'm gonna cry. I was like, yeah, I know.
My wife, she's old school. She walked down the aisle to Vampire Hunter D's theme. That was her jam when she was a kid, and that's what she walked down the aisle to.
I'm walking down the aisle to Melodies of Life from Final Fantasy IX.
Oh, I love that song. That has a good soundtrack. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, we requested they play that. We have a string quartet for the first 2 hours, and like they're playing to Xanarkand. Elliot and the guys are going to enter to "Here Comes Your Man" by the Pixies. And I think we put a couple other video game stuff in there, like 600 AD from Chrono Trigger.
Good choice.
And like a Kiki Delivery Service song. But I didn't think ahead to have them do the dun 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 after like the.
It's a month away. You got it. Plenty of time. After you say I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh no, Maddie, I'm gonna be a crying wreck.
Yeah, Cutie Pie is one of my bridesmaids. Oh, sorry, Shield Maidens is the term.
Shield Maiden.
Yeah.
Right. If you both could direct any comic book movie, what character and what story would you adapt?
Booster Gold. I want him to be played by Dax Shepard.
So she's already picked out.
I want it to be like the 52 pickup, that one.
Okay, good one.
That's just the top of my head. I think about this a lot.
I think about this a lot too. I would say Wolverine, but probably Nightwing. I think it's time that he gets his own solo movie. You know, I think that would be a really good, and the storyline to do it would kind of be like the first story arc in Bloodhaven, where he's in a different city that's a lot more corrupt than Gotham, so it's a lot darker. So I'd want a darker story. Yeah.
See, I've always just wanted them to like, instead of always doing origin stories over and over again, I would love for them to just go ahead and do the Bat Boys. Go and introduce them.
The Bad Boys.
Yeah, like the Bat Boys, just go ahead and do it in the beginning of a movie and have it be about them, and don't take all this time to like do origin stories every time. You don't have to do that. Your audience is smart; they'll pick it up really quickly. Do like a Charlie's Angels thing where it's like, you start with Nightwing doing some flips, and then you like do freeze frame. It's like, oh, this is Nightwing. Like have somebody like do like a narration. It's like a very quick like flashback.
You've thought about this
a lot. I have this whole movie in my head.
Okay, the Bat Boys. I would still take Nightwing solo, but that's just me. Maybe have a little cameo by Tim in there, a little Jason Todd. As far as Yoshitaka Amano, absolutely. I'm looking at all his art books on my shelf, and I know Maddie's a huge fan too. I was in Chicago a few years ago, and his art was in the museum, and it was really, really cool to see a lot of it live. A lot of it from novels and things like that. Like very little Final Fantasy, but more of the novel study stuff. Need a filler order. Fraternity HC by Blacksad Rider. You know it? Any good? I haven't read it. Haven't read that, Philip. But if you need a filler, you got to get What's Michael. I love that. Yes, everybody should get What's Michael. Everybody's like, if I need a filler, it's $19.99. You get almost 500 pages worth of manga about a cat. Like, it's brilliant. I did an overview on the channel. Anybody that doesn't own it should own it. You don't even have to like manga, and it's written literally from left to right, or printed that way, rather.
Classic rock. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. Sorry, can you control it too?
I can't. I used to be able to. I need to figure out.
Who are you signed in as?
I don't know.
Yourself?
Probably me.
Oh, that might be it. That one?
No, I was gonna say. He asked if we were excited for the Final Fantasy VII remake. Yes.
I know she is.
It
I know
looks.
my wife is. I'll watch her play it.
It looks good. I'm excited. Am I excited for all the cosplays I'm now going to have to make because this is coming out? A little bit. Because I'm going to make Eris. And we're going to do a Honeybee in group.
Oh. It's
So
going to be a group thing. Awesome.
Yeah, group cosplay, the Honeybee in. Or the Honeybees, or whatever they're called.
Ooh, a Grendel movie would be awesome. I'm surprised they haven't done. I'm sure the IP has been picked up, just hasn't been done anything with.
Nerdy by nature, definitely with Blue Beetle, if I can. But I don't know who I'd want to be Blue Beetle.
The guy that plays Joe.
But definitely Jeff Booster.
Love to see a Birthright movie adaptation. I'd like to see an animated Birthright. That'd be kind of cool. That's all I kept humming too when you said Bad Boys. Amethyst in the gem world? Is that Amethyst like the classic Amethyst, or did they bring Amethyst back? No, there was a classic like 80s comic book.
Oh, I guess
they might have brought her back. I don't know. I'm out of the loop on some of these things.
Huh.
Ooh, she said classic. We do need to get Kristen back.
Kristen's good. She knows her stuff.
All right, Kristen, you just stepped up your game. I'd rather have Final Fantasy VIII. Okay, that sounds like my wife. She loves that game. I don't know why.
They got a lot to fix if they're going to do that.
¿Cómo estás, hermano? Yo soy peruano. And Blacksad was written or translated by Dark Horse here in America. Thank goodness. So you fine folks can read it.
Oh, yeah. Derek said that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be the biggest PS4 game as far as memory goes. You need 100 gigs just to install it.
I don't have that much. I need to buy a new PS4. Or just get a hard drive. That's ridiculous. 100 gigs?
I know you already reviewed this. This is my first time opening it. I did not realize that this cover for Harleen was so beautiful.
Oh, and the slip, right? Well, awesome.
Also,
go ahead. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Okay. So you guys, the writer and artist for this, Stepan Sejic, I was doing Fangirls Live on Sunday, and we were just talking about recent reads, and then I look in the chat, and I see Stepan Sejic's name, and I'm like, no. I don't think you're Stepan Sejic, but if you are, just in case, I love you, because as you all know, I'm a huge Sunstone fan. I've been a fan of Stepan forever. And so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I'm a patron of his, and then it was him. And he just hung out the entire show and then posted about it later on Twitter, just saying that it was really nice to stumble on shows where people are just talking positively about comics and not just spending all their time critiquing it. And he subscribed. Now I just need to get him to watch our review.
That's awesome. Good for you. Did he tell you how to pronounce his name?
No, but he didn't.
He didn't correct you either. Well, awesome.
But man, so I finally bought this.
De Argentina. Yes. Take out that little slip. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you guys can go watch Omar's video, but
no, you do it.
Oh my God.
Look how beautiful that is. Now, what's cool is that's only available for first printing. So the second printing won't have that cover.
Oh, well, thank God I ordered it. Shit.
Yeah,
I'm in love. And
it's gorgeous.
So excited to finally read it. And I guess he does have plans to do more. Did you see
those? Did you see that? Did you see Poison Ivy and who else? Was it Catwoman? He drew these pictures talking about how he doesn't like doing covers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he posted that forever ago. But on the channel though, because we were talking about Valentine's picks and like our favorite romantic graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't read Harleen yet, and I was like, "Is it romantic? Is it gay?" I was asking if it was gay because of Harleen Poison Ivy.
Is it
And he was like, "Well, that's the intention for the future." Like basically, like alluding that in the future, that's what he's building up to. And I was like, "Good."
Huh.
I really want him to illustrate Wonder Woman.
Dude, those Wonder Woman 750 covers. Oh my goodness.
Because he's done a lot of fan art, like of Wonder Woman, especially of Wonder Woman with Lara Croft. It's beautiful. He really illustrates Wonder Woman the way that I wish she was illustrated more often. That really kind of, I mean, y'all know me. She's real thick, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's real muscular.
Let's hear it.
And I really like that. And like, you know, I think
I appreciate a
can
thick
do
lady
that.
too. So I'm with you, Maddie.
Speaking of, okay, I know we've already finished talking about other stuff.
We did.
Can we all talk real quick?
10 out of 10. Just to recap.
Did any of you guys see the Artemis redesign of DC? So Artemis, as in like
Wonder Woman.
The other Amazonian. She was part of Red Hood and the Outlaws, and as far as in Rebirth, and she's wonderful, fantastic character, very muscular for one, and then in the most recent Red Hood,
I can't believe that book's still out.
Made her look dumb as hell. All her muscles are gone. She's like this.
The artist?
It's like 80s or 90s style lady where it doesn't make any sense. And I'm not always against that, but definitely in this sense where you completely change how this character looks. I was like, it's like a One Piece character. Again, I love my One Piece ladies, but that's not Artemis. I was pissed.
I haven't seen it.
Didio's fault too.
Sure, let's blame him.
I didn't show you? I'm gonna send that to you.
No, you can send it to me. Yeah, even when Mike Del Toro Jr. drew her, you know, she was very muscular. I dug it. And then Ed Benes. But I haven't been keeping up.
Thick. It's beautiful and thick.
Yeah.
It can be both.
Who would you cast as Wonder Woman if you had to do it? Do you like Gal? Or are you happy with that casting?
I wasn't at first.
Mm-hmm.
When they first got announced her, I wasn't about it. You know, I'm not sure. I want somebody older. I'm thinking like, I don't know, like mid-30s, and I want them to be a little bit
like Gina.
I really like Gina, and I really like
too.
Hilda, but I don't want her to be Wonder Woman. I do want her.
I'll take her in any character.
Big Barda.
Oh my goodness.
See, perfect. She's the perfect Barda, and if they don't cast her, I'm throwing them all in the garbage. Hayden said Lucy Lawless, which honestly, Lucy would have been the perfect one.
Yeah, she would have been. I know Chris McCarpenter was trying to get that role when she was coming out of, what was it? Oh, when she was coming back to Angel. Like she was trying to get in there when the rumors were going around that Joss Whedon was going to do it.
And I know. And I love her too, but that's, I don't know.
The Avatar Library editions, Freddie? Those are gorgeous. I don't have any of them. I know they just announced The Legend of Korra is getting a library edition as well.
Yeah,
I love those books.
I have is The Legend of Korra Turf Wars.
Yeah, dude. You know it. There's a reason why he drew those first issues of Justice League and why they teamed him up with Gail Simone to drive up the sales of Birds of Prey. Got that cake. Maddie is Wonder Woman. Look at that. That's 2 votes. Oh, look at you. Don't you get all shy now.
I still haven't cosplayed her somehow. I've cosplayed like 4 different versions of Donna.
It's funny how all the extras were ripped more than Gal. But Gal's a badass, though. Like, she was in the military, and her acting has gotten a lot better than the Fast and the Furious days. So she grew on me. I think she's great at that role. And she might be the only one that's still around her. And, well, I don't know. Dude that's playing Flash, I think they're still going through with that thing. Who knows with the DC, what is it? DCEU, I think is what it's called.
Who knows? I mean, At this point, I'd be fine if they pretended like most of it didn't happen.
I'd be fine if they started using pocket universes. Each one being a standalone, kind of like Shazam.
Well, and technically, the DCEU is part of the multiverse that's related to the TV CW DC. They're all related.
Oh, are they?
That imploded during Crisis, so you could just use an excuse
with
to get rid of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the fact that they all exist in different realities, whatever, I'm okay with that.
Speaking of which, Crisis did a great job with that. It's really fun.
Let's see. Aquaman is still going. Have they announced a second Aquaman yet? I don't know.
I think most of us are just waiting to see if they'll kick Mara off or not.
The only thing that sucked in Wonder Woman was the overuse of CG at the end of the flick. Felt too cartoony. Dude, I didn't like the old Ares had a mustache. That's what made me mad. Like, that's the one I remember watching it. I'm like, this would be such a badass fight if he didn't look so goofy. Like, it was the actor's face. It was like they could have just hit it. They could have just had the classic Ares. That would have been cool. Whatever.
Oh, Hayden says apparently Wonder Woman 84 is going to do a soft reboot on the continuity.
Hayden, did you get that from We Got This Covered? Is that where you got your information, Hayden? I'm just kidding, man. That was for that little jab earlier.
I'm not against if they do it because I mean we're already getting another Suicide Squad movie, right?
Yeah, James Gunn's version. I don't even know if that started filming yet. I wish they'd hurry up so he can come back and do Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
God, yes. I need to see Mantis.
My goodness, come on. We need these characters back in our lives.
Man. I guess the next Marvel movie we get is Black Widow, right?
Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And then
it was better than I was expecting. I was not about this film until that trailer came out.
Same.
The most recent one. And now I'm all about it. And they did exactly what I needed, I guess.
Oh, well, they lured me in. I was like, okay, I'm in, whatever. And then they casted my girl, Florence Pugh. Oh my gosh. Mad crushing on her. I know she's like probably half my age. But goodness, she was awesome in Little Women. Yeah, I saw it. No regrets. It was great. But she's casted as the second Black Widow, Yelena. So all over that. And she actually has a Russian accent, right? Whereas Scarlett Johansson doesn't.
And all the Marvel stuff on Disney Plus looks really nice for the end of the year. I mean, I still don't care about Bucky and
you will
Falcon. I'm sure they're going to do a great job. All that matters is WandaVision, okay? That's all I really
I hate to be pulled into that, but yes, you're right. WandaVision
I'm really excited.
Amazing. Like
we're finally getting the Wanda we deserve.
Even though it's going to be for like 5 seconds of her wearing the little headdress, but whatever.
Well, not just that. I mean, I'm assuming she's reality bending, which is what I've always wanted.
Yeah, and if she can do that, then that's how they can bring the mutants over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Oh my goodness, and Rachel Weisz. Oh, I forgot. That movie's just full of hot women.
Yeah.
I know everybody's all about Scarlett Jo, but I'm all about Rachel Weisz and
I agree.
Florence Pugh. Goodness. Omar, thoughts on Taskmaster? Dude, I just did a Taskmaster, and I think you asked me this on the video. I've always loved the design of Taskmaster. And I'm okay with the design in the movie. You know, for a movie, he has to look. I don't think anything is gonna be as bad as my designs, like how they went from but how they went from Transformers animated to the Bayformers, right? I don't think anything is gonna ever get that bad. But for what it is, it looks pretty cool. I hope he's not a one-off character because he's such a badass. There's all these theories about how he's probably the clone of. I've heard a theory that he's a clone of Natasha, and that's how she gets to come back. I don't know. I hope it's nothing that silly, and I hope they actually use the character properly because I've always enjoyed that. Like DC's version is like Prometheus. Hope Beta Ray Bill gets in the new movie. Dude, that movie is going to be jam-packed. Like, that movie is going to be crazy. Because, yeah, Christian Bale, right, is casted.
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's thinking that he's going to be the villain from God Bomb. So if we do that, then we have Lady Thor, Jane Foster Thor. So we got to add that element. Then are we going to have the Guardians in it? Like the amount of this movie,
I'm
like,
not entirely
crazy.
sure. I'm ready.
Hey, we can share, okay?
Okay. Well, we probably need to get going.
Oh, we do. I like how I was ready to end this at like 30 minutes ago, and then
I was having
we started
fun.
talking. Oh, that's good. That's good. It was a bad day, so I needed this. So thank you everybody for watching. We are on Patreon, where you can vote on our old reader, new reader once a month. We'll have a poll, and the patrons voted for Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, and that will be next week on February 25th, where we will also be giving away a $50 gift card. So tune in live for that. Maddie, any last words?
No, that's it. We hope that you'll like this video and subscribe and comment down below if you read this later. Let us know how you like Blacksad, and we look forward to having you join us again next week.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.